Arirang TV President Suk-ho will step down amid a scandal involving his spending of taxpayer money on overseas business trips. A heavy bundle of anti-South Korean leaflets coming from the north fell and crashed on a residential building's water tank in Suwon, Gyeonggi Province. And foreign medical tourists once only visited Seoul and surrounding areas, but now they're traveling to local cities nationwide. We bring you more. Hello and welcome to News Today on KBS World. It's Tuesday, February 2nd. I'm Luke Clary. Arirang TV President Suk-ho will step down amid a scandal involving his overseas business trips. Among other accusations, the head of the state-funded English broadcasting station is accused of paying a $1,000 plus restaurant tab with his corporate card and reporting false information about his travel mates.
This is a caviar specialty restaurant which Arirang TV President Suk-ho visited last September. He spent $930 at one seating at a restaurant where a meal for a single person can run up to $300. He had written down that it was a business meeting with the employees of the Korean Cultural Service of New York City, but it wasn't true. It was also found through his daughter's social networking site that his family had joined him on his business trip. When he was in New York on business last May, he flew 2 hours to see his son attending a local college and charged over $1,000 for a meal on his corporate credit card. The son was a few days away from graduating at that time.
마침 아들이 졸업할 타이밍하고 겹쳐서 자기 개인 비용으로 내려가서 거기서 그냥 밥을 사줬는데 카드를 잘못 꺼낸 거지.
Following these allegations of misusing the corporate credit card on business trips, Arirang TV President Suk-ho finally announced his resignation. The Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism will decide on Tuesday whether to accept his resignation.
Tens of thousands of anti-South Korean leaflets presumed to have been launched by North Korea fell on a water tank at a residential building in Suwon, Gyeonggi Province. The shock of the falling leaflets shattered the water tank, flooding the surroundings. Let's take a look.
A water tank installed on the rooftop of a residential building has been destroyed. Water pouring out from the tank was soon frozen in the sub-zero weather. Anti-South Korean propaganda leaflets, which appear to have been dispersed by North Korea, are piled up near the tank. A vinyl balloon carrying 30,000 anti-South Korean leaflets fell on a water tank on the rooftop of a residential building in Suwon, Gyeonggi Province, around 2:30 a.m. Tuesday. The shock was large enough to crack the ceiling of a nearby house.
폭탄 떨어졌나 아니면은 그 자체가 물이 얼어가지고 터졌나 싶어가지고 갑자기 이제 뭐 우두두두두 소리가 나가지고.
Most of the leaflets contain criticisms against President Park Geun-hye, similar to those recently distributed by the North. Approximately 1 million anti-South Korean leaflets have been confirmed to have been sent across the border by North Korea in response to the South Korean military's resumption of anti-Pyongyang loudspeaker broadcasts on January 8th following the North's fourth nuclear test.
In today's news bulletin, a Chinese military aircraft crossed South Korea's air defense identification zone while flying over the EC 2 days ago. The South Korean military said that on January 31st, Chinese military reconnaissance and early warning aircraft entered South Korea's air defense identification zone in the skies over Eo Island, southwest of Jeju Island. Upon receiving a warning from the South Korean military, the Chinese aircraft notified their country of origin and immediately evacuated the zone. Under international law, air defense identification zones are beyond country sovereignty, but all foreign aircraft entering them must obtain permission to enter in advance. Only Korean companies are allowed to participate in military logistics projects as agreed in the ROK-US Accord to share the cost of stationing American troops in Korea. But it was discovered that foreign companies continue to take part in the bids. Here's more.
Korea's Ministry of National Defense and U.S. Forces in Korea Command agreed last October to limit the eligibility of companies bidding for military procurement projects for American forces in Korea to companies held by fewer than 50% foreign shareholders. This restriction was placed so that Korean companies would be the real beneficiaries of military projects costing nearly $125 million per year in Korean taxpayers' money. But it was discovered recently that the U.S. Forces in Korea Command again selected a foreign company it had dealt with in the past as its combat materials provider and asked the Korean Defense Ministry for approval. The company satisfied the qualifications by lowering its foreign shareholdings from 51% to 49%, while the Korean and American military authorities were hammering out the bidder eligibility requirements for over a year. The company is also known to have already logged revenue of more than $58 million from signing 2 contracts over the past 8 years.
무늬만 한국인 업체가 국민의 혈세와 방위 분담금을 빼가고 있는 이런 꼼수를 부리고 있는 형태나 마찬가지입니다.
However, the Defense Ministry said it sees no problem with the selected contractor, for it has met the bid participation requirement agreed between Korea and the U.S. by adjusting its shares.
The U.S.-based Heritage Foundation's Index of Economic Freedom is recognized as a prestigious measurement of economic freedom in countries around the world. South Korea jumped ahead 2 notches in this year's index. Here's more.
South Korea's economic freedom score, as announced jointly by the U.S.-based Heritage Foundation and the Wall Street Journal, is 71.7 points. Up 0.2 points from last year, the new score places Korea in 27th place among 178 countries. The ranking is 2 notches higher than before. The evaluation by the Heritage Foundation and the Wall Street Journal found that Korea's economy is mostly free after 5 years of steady progress. Among specific categories, the nation's corporate freedom and the freedom of monetary circulation received high marks. However, scores for freedom of private property rights, corruption, and labor freedom were lower in comparison. The rule of law was found to be effective in South Korea with an independent judicial system. But it was pointed out that despite the government's anti-corruption efforts, bribery persists in politics, business, and everyday life. Hong Kong, which ranked highest in the recent report, was categorized as a free economy, along with Singapore, New Zealand, Switzerland, and Australia. North Korea again took last place this year.
Foreign medical tourists once only visited Seoul and surrounding areas, but now they're traveling to local cities nationwide to get medical treatment. The city of Daejeon, for instance, saw more than 10,000 medical tourists in 2015 alone, which prompted the city to develop tour packages tailored to foreign students and seniors to attract more medical tourists.
A taekwondo dance performance of Korean elementary school students is followed by a talent show by the students from China. These Chinese elementary school students from Shandong province are on a 3-day trip to Daejeon.
我觉得韩国的才艺很多，很棒，然后他们这里也很干净，很讲究卫生，我觉得这里挺好的，我希望。
When a cultural exchange event is over, the Chinese students undergo physical exams at a nearby hospital. They're part of a 120-plus member medical tour group composed of some 60 students and their parents and guardians. They're especially satisfied with the vision and dental services they received.
顺便体验了一下这里的设备，感觉这里设备非常的先进。这次也跟儿子体验了一下，亲身体验了，确实是这样的，非常好，非常好。
Some 300 Chinese medical tourists are projected to visit Daejeon this month alone. They plan to receive customized physical examinations and diagnoses, as well as enjoy hot spas and other activities. Medical tourism programs for foreigners, which used to be concentrated in Seoul and surrounding areas, are now spreading to local cities and energizing their economies.
Koreans eat a bowl of tteokguk or rice cake soup to celebrate the arrival of the new year. A rice cake factory in Asan, South Chungcheong Province is enjoying a business boom with the approaching Lunar New Year's holiday. Here's the story.
Employees skillfully place steamy sticks of rice cake called 가래떡 on trays. The cakes will be naturally air-dried for 2 days, sliced into pieces and vacuum packaged to be sold as the main ingredient of 떡국, or rice cake soup. Orders began to pour in a month ago, and the factory has been running around the clock for the last 15 days. Rice cakes from Asan enjoy nationwide acclaim thanks to their use of local ingredients, freshness, and delicious flavor.
그동안에 우리가 20년 동안 해온 기술을 접목해갖고 맛을 상승시키는 그런 어떤 효과가 아닌가 이런 생각이 들고 있습니다.
Employees of this rice cake factory are all local farmers. They take great pride in producing rice cakes made from rice they cultivated themselves and selling them across the nation.
저희 쌀로 떡을 해서 직접 보내니까 좋죠. 청정 지역에서 나온 떡이라서 쌀이라서 좋아요. 기분도 좋죠, 그러니까.
The factory plans to produce 410 tons of rice cake during this year's Lunar New Year holiday, up 30 tons from last year. With the Lunar New Year holiday fast approaching, the atmosphere is festive at the factory, where the farmers' hard work is bringing them rich rewards.
The temperature on the thermometer of the Community Chest of Korea used to measure fundraising progress has exceeded its target by recording 100.5 degrees. Analysts say that the donations have surged thanks to generous corporate and individual donations, some of which surpassed $83,000 US.
The temperature on the thermometer of the Community Chest of Korea measures 100.5 degrees. The final amount of donations is $286 million US. That's $1.3 million above the target and $8.3 million more than last year.
가장 투명하고 공정한 절차를 거쳐 도움이 절실한 우리의 400만 이웃을 다시 일어서게 하는 희망의 씨앗이 될 것입니다.
Although the temperature is above 100 degrees, it's the lowest level in 5 years. While corporate donations increased by 10% year on year, individual donations fell by more than 5%. However, the amount of annual individual donations received by the Community Chest of Korea last year also recorded an increase. Regular salary donations surged by $2.5 million, while sales donations expanded by $1 million. The number of large-sum donors also surged from last year. The estimated total amount of annual donations received by the Community Chest of Korea last year grew nearly $42 million to record $431 million.
Pianist Cho Sung-jin, who became the first Korean to win the International Chopin Piano Competition in October last year, has returned to Korea for the first time since winning the prestigious prize. Here's more.
It was more like a Cho Sung-jin concert than a competition. That's the kind of praise that Korean pianist Cho Sung-jin received at the International Chopin Piano Competition last year. By winning the prestigious prize, Cho earned the privilege of embarking on a worldwide tour. He recently visited his home country as the final leg.
거의 1년 만에 지금 제가 한국을 왔는데 좀 설레기도 하고 기쁘기도 하고 여러 가지 감정들이 복합적으로 되는 순간인 것 같아요.
The 21-year-old says he still feels somewhat awkward to have risen to stardom overnight.
마이크에 대한 울렁증이 있습니다.
Despite his occasional shyness, he exudes both confidence and modesty when speaking about music.
저희가 할 수 있는 최선을 다했을 뿐이고 음악을 할 때만큼은 진지해야 된다고 생각을 하고요.
In an unprecedented move, the director of Poland's Frederick Chopin Institute visited Cho's home country to offer encouragement.
To have something extra to convince the audience that it is a piece of art, not only playing.
The organizers of the Tuesday concert, which will feature the competition's first through sixth place winners, have decided to hold an extra concert during the daytime thanks to fervent demand from music fans.
Hair, it belongs on your head. Nobody likes cleaning up stray strands of it that fall on the floor or get caught in the drain. Here are some simple ways to rid your home of fallen hair. Hair falls out all the time, and the loose hairs seem to pile up no matter how often you clean the floor, hairbrush, or drains.
샤워하고 나오면 그 머리카락이 배수구에 끼어서 물이 안 빠지고 온 방안이 정말 머리카락이 장난이 아닌 거예요. 죽고 또 돌아서면 또 보이고 해서 어떻게 치워야 될지 잘 모르겠어요.
Here are some sure and simple ways to get rid of those annoying hair strands. Let's tackle the hair clogging the bathroom sink first.
커피숍에서 커피 마실 때 사용하던 이렇게 작고 단단한 빨대 집으로 가져오시고 또 문구점에서 파는 케이블 선으로도 우리가 간단히 청소할 수가 있어요.
Make diagonal cuts on a stirrer or plastic tie and spread the slits to create gaps between them. Insert the straw or tie into the sink drain and move it up and down to drag the hair clogging up the pipe. Repeat this simple process 2 or 3 times to completely remove the clumps of hair and unclog the drain. If you see a lot of hair on a shaggy area rug, take out a shoe brush and a rubber glove.
구두쇠를 한쪽 방향으로 머리를 빗듯이 쓸어내린 다음에 고무장갑을 끼고 물을 살짝 묻혀서 빗어주면 깔끔하게 정리가 될 수 있습니다.
This housewife is stressed out from seeing all the hair strands littering the floor whenever she cleans house. Her hair started falling out recently and just a few strokes of brushing leave the hairbrush full of hair.
빗에 스타킹을 씌워서 묶어주시기만 하면 되는데요. 이 상태로 사용하시다가 스타킹을 벗기면 그 머리카락들이 스타킹 안쪽에 모여 있어서 깨끗하게 청소가 됩니다.
If you see hair strands on your bedding, use a rubber band to pick them up. Wrap 2 or 3 rubber bands around the palm and sweep your hand over the mattress or pillows to trap hair strands between the rubber bands. Try using these simple tips to keep stray hairs out of unwanted places in your home. And now we'll take a look at the markets, followed by the world weather. And that's it for this edition of News Today. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you again at the same time tomorrow. Goodbye.